Welcome to frame-by-frame analysis of Alan Becker's stick figures, where we slow down and break down fights in the series that are either too fast or too zoomed out to fully appreciate. And today, we're breaking down one of the fights that I think really show how raw red, blue, yellow, and green are on the field. Welcome to Bedwars, AvM episode 36, an episode that made me realize how feral blue is. The final stand begins with Lancer's countdown as blue spawns an iron golem underneath all of them. They're all thrown in the air as blue and green dive out of red and yellow's way. Yellow bombs all of the people on the ground and then he continues bombing the ones that are flying towards him. Yellow is trying to keep himself in the air with the propulsion of the bombs, then he bombs himself to the other side as he lands on the tree. Meanwhile, Red's trying to keep the ground people busy by using Blue's sword throwing technique with one hand, then speed building with the other. As the camera pans out, Green and Blue are delivering the next set of blows onto the flying two as Blue starts chucking blocks at one of them and Green tries diving for the other one while throwing his swords. I like how despite how wacky this whole sequence is, each of them get out on their own preferred fighting style. Blue scatters them by causing them to be thrown, Green is technically dual-wielding, Red's trying to create a favorable terrain, and Yellow's bombing everyone like the little arsonist that he is. Anyway, the camera starts zooming in on Yellow and Red trying to fend off the Green team, with the bridge behind Red getting bombed. Lancer successfully closes in on Red as Red's knocked off bounds. But Red's able to do a really sick maneuver here by throwing a TNT first, then an Ender Pearl. He uses the TNT as a makeshift platform just fast enough to still have the time to grab it and spin dunk it to Lancer. Sarlacc comes from behind him though as Yellow throws a sword to the back of Sarlacc's head, which ricochets. Red catches the sword, then throws it back to Lancer. Meanwhile, Yellow's in the back with a fire charge and he launches himself while bombing Sarlacc. Yellow is a menace to society and uses Red's falling body as a platform to launch himself off of. Out of all of the four of them, I genuinely think that Yellow is the king of aerial combat because he flies so effortlessly even without the presence of an elytra. Here, he throws a bunch of red wool blocks, then scatters them around. He uses these floating blocks as the platform he needs to throw the fire charges off of. The explosions as he's propelling himself off of those blocks are the movement he needs to get from one opponent to another. He lands to Red, but they're immediately bombed off of the platform. Yellow's not as discombobulated and he throws red wool blocks to collide with the incoming fire charges. Meanwhile, Red builds mid-air and tries catching his fall with the bridge, but he's not able to stop his momentum and he's continuously tumbling down. Yellow is in a fight with Lancer, but the fire charge connects, almost launching him off of the platform had he not caught himself with the wooden sword. Yellow also launches an item which creates a tower of red wool to block off Lancer. Yellow starts building backwards, but Lancer's able to get the jump on him. Red notices that Yellow is knocked off of the platform and jumps in the air to catch him. Red lands on the platform below and the two start dangling for dear life. Meanwhile, we cut to Green getting launched back first into a pillar and he has to catch himself with his two swords. But he has to recover immediately as Spray sprays a fire charge at him. Green dives to dodge and he starts throwing both swords at Spray to keep him at bay. But Spray's climbing fast enough and successfully catches up to Green. Before he can secure a kill though, Blue swoops in to save him and starts pelting Spray with a bunch of blocks. Spray starts planting a bomb then starts shoving both of them into the bomb, but Blue's able to close him off. The two are flanked by Tins, who starts beating them down, and Blue keeps the distance by building up for both of them. Tins doesn't let them get away though as Blue is shoved off, separating Green and Blue. Blue launches himself up with a fire charge and he hangs on the pillar with a ladder while Red and Yellow are smacked off of the platform. Yellow catches himself with a fire charge and Red stops the fall with an egg that actually starts building a staircase of red wool for him. Red also tosses an Ender Pearl which catches him off screen. At the bottom, Blue notices that Yellow is flying towards him, so he launches himself from the ladder and grabs onto Yellow's foot. He spins Yellow to Spray, who catches a fire charge to the face. Then Red and Blue start pelting Spray with blocks. Green joins them on the other side and they successfully kill their first enemy. That victory is short-lived though as Red and Blue are bombed till Kingdom Come and Green is separated from them. Green slides to the wooden sword and does a sick spin to throw the swords to both enemies flanking him. He spins mid-air, then keeps spinning while on the ground instead of landing by the feet or the knees. Then he relaunches himself into the air. But he does lose that momentum and when he does land, he's stabbed from behind and he's not given any room to dodge or disengage. The camera pans to Yellow who's knocked off of the platform, and when he does try to get away, he's flanked by Lancer, who shoves him back and forth. Yellow gets to escape with an Ender Pearl though before getting bodied by Sarlacc, and Yellow struggles to find his footing. As he launches in the air and closed in by three of them, sudden death barely saves him and he needs to get caught by Red and Blue. The primary color trio make their stand by using the dragon, but Yellow is bombed off and promptly killed. Blue finally gets his opportunity to shine with his signature bow, but is bombed off the dragon. Red makes the dragon dive for him, and I like how unfazed Blue is despite getting bombed. If there's one thing that Blue is strangely proficient in, it's how difficult it is to significantly stagger him, unless you can genuinely trap him or your force is much higher. He starts shooting while flying in the air, then he anticipates Red's catch as he's grabbed back onto the dragon. They start their aerial combat and they both grab each other's neck and spin themselves to change positions. Blue throws Red down to jump higher, and Red throws Blue higher to cover more distance between Blue and the enemies, because Blue has a bow, essentially having Red sacrifice himself so that Blue can be in a better position. Red does try to retaliate by stabbing and throwing the sword at them multiple times, but to no avail as he is stabbed off of the face of the earth. Blue's able to kill Sarlacc though with the help of Red's damage. Lancer bombs Blue and then ender pearls himself to the platform. Blue anticipates his teleport and bombs him, which sends him back. Blue lands on the platform and prepares for a final combat. He starts trying to finish off Lancer with the throwing technique, and as the two struggle, they're interrupted by a moderator who bans both of them. I don't know, I've always liked this fight. It's one of those fights where they really go all out because they know there's not really a lot of consequences to what they do except for pride and ego, so they're a bit more unscattered and unhinged. Anyway, if you want to see more frame-by-frame analysis, feel free to subscribe. I'm Mushi and this has been frame-by-frame analysis of Bedwars. Hi! Editing Mushi here, but a bit of a side note that I really wanted to talk about for this episode. If you notice, the color gang actually starts learning from each other when it comes to using technique. Also, the amount of times that yellow actually jumps on red's head in this episode are insane. So some examples is green using the iron golem, which blue uses in the finale, red and yellow using one of blue's techniques when it came to bashing someone's head in and also throwing stuff at them, yellow using the wall as a little kind of flying maneuver, blue using the chest that actually spawns the tower similar to what yellow does, and we see red already on the dragon. I don't know, it's that kind of visual storytelling that I will always appreciate when it comes to quiet or dialogue-less shows like this. Nevertheless, that's me.